You are listening to the Hammersy Brothers e-commerce podcast. Like what you hear and want to take the shortcut on your e-commerce growth? Join hundreds of brands that work with us and head over to joinhb.com. That's joinhb.com and see how we can help you further. Join our members and smash your targets and unlock the profits within your e-commerce site. Hello.
Oh,
how are you?
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Sorry, I just dropped my AirPod.
With the door open, so it can't be that cold. Got the door open and outside, and I hear
straight in there with the weather.
Well, that's what English people do. I think.
You've got nothing. That's it.
Talk about the weather. I've got to talk about the weather first. Set the level.
Actually, we talk about the weather when we're not even chatting on the podcast, don't we?
Well, we're talking about the weather because it was affected the UK sales in e-commerce a lot because unseasonably nice weather makes a big difference to people's businesses, and it's. What's difficult for certain businesses is that they've got no anticipation of it. So because it's not normal, is it? And you're kind of like, oh, well, this is how much. And they look year on year, but they obviously the weather's very different year on year, and therefore the figures are different year on year. So if you get a very unseasonably warm April and you had a crap April last year, you're comparing apples with oranges, really, aren't you? In terms of sales.
Yeah. Well, I think you summarise it quite well. That when you come over to the UK and the weather's nice, people go outside, they sit outside, and you'll be like, "Why are they all sat outside?" At the pub. And
it wasn't even that
because
nice.
The weather's
it was
nice.
The sun was out. It was a bit cold, and it was like a desert. People with a oasis in the desert. They're like, "Oh my God, sun!" Whereas, in New Zealand, it's sunny quite often.
More normal. More predictable. Yeah. Well, what happens? So they go outside, don't they? Yeah, they do. But it does come back. Yeah. I think you just get so. But look, the real message here is there are market forces beyond your control that are at play, and all you can do, unlike any other business. But when you're an online business, you can adapt very quickly because you can grow and scale according to your ad spend, and you can't do that in any other type of retail. If you've got a fixed shop, you've got a shop in the Trafford Centre, you can't just shut it when you or reduce your staff. You've got no control.
The Trafford Centre must be massively affected by the weather because if it's really bad weather, there's nothing else to do apart from go to the Trafford Centre, is there?
Yeah, when it's nice wet, what they love is a wet, cold Manchester weekend, and it's absolutely heaving because
The same thing happened here this weekend. It was at the Sylvia Park here. It was wet and it was just absolutely rammed, and I was like, I didn't really want to have to go because I knew it would be rammed, but it was busy because there's nothing else to do. It was raining all weekend, so. It does affect things. I think also Easter seemed to be, how did it work? So I think we're talking as if everybody did badly, but that's not the case. In fact, we did quite well. Lots of the people we were working with did quite well during Easter, but there was some pockets of those kind of big decision-making purchases that got kicked down the road, I think. So if it's Easter, it's nice weather, and you're maybe going on holiday or doing something, you're going to put off that big purchase, I'm not going to go and redo the garage floor, or I'm not going to go and buy a sofa, or I'm not going to, those things that are big. There's obviously pockets of the market where do well with good weather, like the bed and breakfast. They'll go and buy more sheets and things like that due to the fact that
anything to do with going out.
Yeah,
it's like eventing, going out for the day, going away for the weekend, going out in the garden. All those things are positively affected by the weather. But anything that's indoors, that's not connected to holidays is tends to be put on the back burner. But anyway, look, we talk about it a lot, which must drive people crazy. But the reason we're talking about it a lot is because it has a huge impact on conversion rate and
trading,
ROAS,
really,
and it's crazy. And I think that we're fascinated about it because, again, like I said before, is that in the old days you have a physical shop, in your town, and that was it. and if you wanted to go and have another physical shop, it would take years of planning, and commitment and cash and risk. Whereas now you can open another shop in the next town when it's busy and then close it the next day because you can scale your ad spend up. And it's just it's fascinating that, once you get your head around that, and you get the maths right and you understand how aggressively you can run it. It's just amazing. So we love the weather. We love the seasonality. We love it when it changes because we can adapt. And when our programs in our own businesses, we adapt very quickly because we've got the numbers in front of us, whereas the competitors don't. And they go, oh, what was our ROAS last month? Oh, it was really high. Oh, maybe we should have spent some more. Well, we've already taken their competitors and they're not the customers and they're not coming back.
Also, the really big people, they actually budget what they're going to spend in April in about 6 months beforehand. So like we've worked with some of these big corporates, and they'll be like, "Yep, in July, this is the budget you've got for Google Ads."
Yeah, and you have to you have to get sign off. It's already been submitted, and that's because these businesses work. They're so slow, aren't they?
Yeah,
to change, to get things approved.
It's just madness. It's almost like when you get so big, you have to have such a good margin and such a good business model to kind of put up with the fact that you've become completely incompetent as you get bigger. It's insane.
That's a little bit too much.
Anyway, I wanted to talk to you on this podcast about websites. I was going to say websites we like, but websites you like, because I've been in a few meetings with people and they've been mentioning some of the websites you've been saying you like, and I thought, well, I'd like to ask Ian about that, and why not do it on the podcast? So I mean, this comes from, I mean, you're much more involved in the UX than myself, so you'll probably be looking at websites a lot more than me. Obviously, I'm involved in UX more than most people, but not as much as you. And so I just wanted to kind of pick your brains on what websites you like and why, and what bits you like and don't like. And I think that'd be interesting to see, for everybody to see.
No, it sounds good. I mean, obviously you did tell me about this 5 minutes before the podcast. So I have prepared.
That's not true. I told you before we went to bed. And then you had 12 hours.
You did. Yeah, you did. You told me this morning. Well, funnily enough, you did ask me this morning, and I was thinking about it during the day. I was thinking, how when you say websites, obviously you mean e-commerce stores, because we only work in e-commerce, so we don't work with general websites. So I have no interest in what BT is doing with their website, whatever. So, but I was thinking about the question, and in my first reaction is, well, and I'll tell you a story. This was about 5 years ago. We did some work, big piece of work with Pro Cook. I'll say who it is. Doesn't matter, does it? Pro Cook's a UK-based retailer selling pots and pans, kitchen cookware stuff. And one of
they were the ones that bought Steamer, was it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It was the high street brand.
No, they just brought some of their stores. I think their locations. They took over the locations. But they were traditionally a bricks and mortar business, and then developed online as well. And they floated on the stock market, and it was really, really interesting. And we went in and to help them with that growth, and it was great. But I remember one of the questions that was asked by a senior chap there was saying, he said, Ian, look, let's cut to the chase. Of all your 20 years worth of time, sitting and working with e-commerce businesses, which is the best product page, which is out of them all, you've all seen, if you could say there was one, e-commerce product page that was the best, what would it be? And I was like, instantly I knew my answer. And my answer was, well, what are you buying? It depends on what you're buying. Are you buying a hammer, or a pair of ladders, or are you buying a luxury, lingerie set for your weekend away? Like, it's completely dependent on what you're buying. It's like, what's your favorite shop? It's like, that's what me saying. What's your favorite shop? And you might go, well, I really admire Screwfix, but I really admire Victoria's Secret. They're both brilliant examples.
You wouldn't sell lingerie on Screwfix.
No,
that would look
you
odd.
wouldn't. But so but those businesses are both brilliant at understanding what the customer needs, and that. So anyway, the long answer is you cannot answer that question without the
Context.
the context of what you are selling, and that's what I responded, which was annoying for him, and probably annoying for everybody. That I have answered it with the the slightly frustrating answer is I'm not going to tell you. However, I have got a list of sites that I often refer to these, and over the years I find myself coming back to the same brands. Some we've worked with, some we just think have done a really good job. So it's completely unbiased. Some of these brands are fantastic.
You're not just going to show the stuff we have built, is what you're saying.
No, that would be wrong and stupid, because there's some much better examples out there, and we are famous for, look, if we see a competitor that's done something really great, we will swipe, steal, deploy it. We're not interested in
shamelessly copy it.
We have no interest in being unique or particularly creative. We will go for the easiest path with least resistance and the most evidence that it's going to move the needle, and we want to do it as fast as we can. So we've got no shame in being inspired by what's out there at all. Shall I share my screen now? If you listen to this,
let's try it. I don't know how it's going to work for those people watching in black and white.
Screen. Yeah. So I'll share my screen.
Audio.
I'll try and but I'll talk through it. What? Stop speaking over me, for goodness sake.
I've got to explain what's on the side. That Ian's brought up a picture of a semi-naked woman.
It's true. Have you seen that tab? I thought I was sharing the other one.
No, it's a Lululemon leotard, a bodysuit. Yeah, I wouldn't suit you, Ian. I don't think you should get it.
Well, maybe one day. Listen, right? I'm serious now. Okay, so I've got in front of me, and they're in no particular order, but these are e-commerce brands that I back to, and I use them as my reference. And obviously, it's all in context of what we are selling. If it's and I think, just to preempt it, there's two main emotional things that people go through emotional decisions. Let me start again, because you might use this for your little snippet, and I better not fluff it up, eh? But there are two main emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? There's two main emotions people have when they're buying something. It's either a problem-solving rational purchase or a desirability lifestyle purchase. And it's not the case for everything, but I think generally it falls into one of those two camps. Now, Lululemon, the only reason I'm going to say Lululemon is because their mobile product page is very good. Okay, so if you go to a Lululemon bestseller, whoops, do you want to see my screen, computer? Yeah, so you go to Lululemon bestseller and you just look at it on a mobile. It's very good. Navigational flow is very good. The search bar's open. The categories are very clear to see. You know what it is, and it's got trust and credibility above the fold. Right, so I always look at that as a very good mobile header. Okay, so I'll do quick. Okay, quick stuff.
Search bar
Next
open.
one.
Did you say that? I didn't listen.
What? Sorry. Search bar open. Yeah.
Yeah.
Search bar's open. Yeah, on that one. And we often use this. We use this as a screen grab, don't we, in some of our product page checklists?
Yeah.
Yeah, but instead of the product review, I would put the service review at the top.
Yeah.
Because, why not? So the next one I'm going to do is, and then again in no particular order, is this was a brand introduced to me quite recently, Merry People, Australian brand. And what they've done is they've created a commoditized item. They've created a fashion item out of commodities, selling wellies, and they're very, very nicely presented. The photography is beautiful. The feeling of the brand is beautiful. It's got a real playful nature to it. And I just think they've done a great job, because they're selling wellies that are, £90 that everyone else is selling for 30, and they've managed to, charge a premium because they look so much better. They're just a welly. They just designed them and created that lifestyle. So I think that's a good example of a brand that is
I've seen kind of
architected a
those brands
look.
before. I think that's kind of one of the brands I would have liked to own either in the future or in the past, was something that's like a commodity product that people buys, but just kind of like branding it up. Like I saw
Yeah.
someone do it with like paddling pools, like, like kind of cat paddling pools for like kids in the garden. And someone just took like the basic paddling pool, just kind of branded it up, made it look nice. And then it just turned it into a completely different product, and they could charge 3 times the price for it. It's amazing
Yeah.
that, that's what they've done with these wellies, haven't they? They just basically turned a bog standard item into something a bit more funky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a nice, how they've got the story, the nice feeling. Hey, I'm Danny. I'm
Did we
the
actually
founder.
mention the brand? It was Merry People.
Merry People. Yeah, I think I did say Merry People. Yeah. So there's that one. The next site, I mean, this has actually kick-started the conversation. The next site is Space Goods. And I keep coming back to Space Goods. Spacegoods.com. It's a UK brand. They're selling like supplements, stuff like mushroom blend. And I think the what I really love about the site is the trust and credibility is very clear. The call to action is clear. The get started link. The homepage is great because you've got a lot of 150,000 happy customers worldwide. How to use Space Goods. What's inside? Join our. Let me just refresh the page. They've got like a big block around the trust and credibility. Maybe I think it's missing.
Tell you what I like at the top. Just go right to the top where they show the first Trustpilot logo. So they've done the Trustpilot
very
there
simple
without taking away from the brand. You know what I mean? So sometimes you can actually bring the Trustpilot
anywhere. It's
thing
just
but you can sometimes you bring it in and it kind of takes away from the aesthetic, but that actually helps the aesthetic. It kind of works, fits with the colors.
I mean, pretty much every site we're doing the UX for has that in it now. And then when you go to get started, I mean, this is also great on a mobile. The same thing. You've got the Trustpilot thing right at the top there. It's very clear what it is. The imagery is fantastic. If you're on a mobile like that, you can flip through these images. The thumbnails are open, and you know exactly what's going on. All the trust and credibility and what the product is and what's in the box and why people are loving it, the returns policy. It's all in the imagery. So you can just skip through. Yeah, it's open. You've got the things here. You've got the trust there. Very, 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 very clear. What's going to happen. So it's a very good example. I mean, and also this brand's killing it. I mean, they went from like 0 to 12 million in a year. It's very good. I love it. I love the trust.
Nice. I mean, what is it? Just powder? It's basically another. I mean, supplements. People have made millions and millions of supplements every time. There's just a play on a supplement, isn't it? It's just doing it in a different way, but effectively, it's a supplement brand, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's one product. So it's a simple, probably 1 or 2 product website, but it's appealing very much to that target market, showing trust and credibility. It's very clear what to do. So yeah, keep coming back to that one. Let me go to the next one. I'll say Dusk.com only because they've been a very disruptive force in the online home furnishing. Very unashamedly going after price and a very strong offer architecture. Not for everybody at all, but they've gone for that market where it's the look for less. That's what they've done.
How does Dusk work? Do they actually stock some products in the UK, but some products you order it comes directly from?
Yeah, the lead time. Yeah, some of them have got big lead times. Yeah, so they started off with bedding,
stock,
and then they moved. Pardon?
So that one you're looking at there is in stock. So that would be the bed.
It's in stock, but it's when you. I mean, I know it's like a lead time of sometimes it could be 4 to 5 weeks. I mean, it depends. I mean, they'll stock the fast movers. But the bigger furniture pieces, which of course are challenging, will be coming. But I think you just look. It appeals. I mean, they're dominate. There's 2 brands that are dominating Google Shopping in the home furnishing, and that's Dolls, and it's Dusk, and they are in every Google search. They're going for that same look for less. They'll see the cabinet that's in John Lewis, and they've taken. But it's just they have very much honed in on that market, and the website does that well. It's not perfect.
What does that use code reveal mean? What does that do?
Oh, it's literally just a code. The code, there's a mystery discount. I mean, they're running. There's always an offer on. There's always an event.
I thought you had to click on it to
no.
reveal the code,
But
like an affiliate site.
No. What Dusk realise is that you're only buying stuff for your house, the big ticket, like once every year if you're lucky. So they've got, when you come to the site, there is an event, there is something happening, and it makes you feel like you've got we say you've got about 6 weeks when someone starts the journey of looking for a homeware, a sofa, a side table, a table. You've got 6 weeks when you're doing a house up, so you got to hit them hard. Then
got nice imagery.
So anyway,
nice
imagery's good. Yeah, the imagery. Yeah, the photography's good. Photography's excellent, actually. It is good. So that's, I always often look at those guys. Health.com. I mean, we've obviously worked with them. They're a favourite. They're actually one of our guys, and they've done very, very well. And I think what they've done, they're selling health supplements, and the website is very easy and nice. There's just enough of a branding element to that company to just lift it, that we're not just selling a box of vitamins. There is enough of a feeling to position the brand slightly differently. And then when you get into the site, there's a very good offer architecture. It's kind of like, why would you buy from anybody else when you actually go into it and find a product page?
It does. I mean, there's something about it that makes you feel like you want to buy something from it because it's cool. Like, it's very different than buying on an Argos site, or, I mean, you could buy these products on Argos, you could buy them on all sorts of different sites, but I don't know, something about it makes you feel like it's a bit cooler.
Well, they've got the fundamentals right. They've got the right price, they've got the right stock availability, and it's going to arrive quickly. They've got the right offer, they've got the right trust and credibility, and they've just got enough of a feeling around the brand to just give it. To give it, it's just sort of a no-brainer.
Sorry, Ian, I didn't mean to talk you. I think if you looked at health and you tried to copy health and you thought, it's doing well because it looks cool, you'd make a big mistake, because that isn't why it's successful. And obviously, we probably shouldn't talk too much about it because we've got lots of inside knowledge about it. But basically, I think that would be, you can't. I don't want people to watch this and go, "Oh, if I just made my site look really, really cool, all my problems would go away." They wouldn't. It's one flavor. But I guess if you're doing all the things right, why not look cool?
Yeah.
It does give you a little bit extra. It does give you an extra of conversion rate. But
they've got, I mean, look, it's price, availability, trust. I mean, they're the first thing. They're selling other people's products, so you got to get that right. But yeah, so there's a couple of next ones that come on, and this is there's another one called Four Hymns as well. So there's Four Hymns, and this is like, these are what's this? Click on that one. Four Hymns, like sexual ED, hair loss treatment. And I'm going to put these in like weight loss. I mean, there's I would say join.voy and Four Hymns is very good in terms of.
When you're showing the sites, don't move your mouse so fast, so we can.
I'm just too quick. Okay, yeah. Well, I think
because it's like,
I haven't got anything particularly.
It's like watching someone on crack, looking at screens. Yeah,
is it distracting? Okay.
A bit. It's like when I tried to do I did the presentation for Kath, and she told me off for doing exactly the same thing on my screen.
Why is that loading? So I think I've got my VPN off. So we'll come back to those. Okay, because my VPN's not on. So the next one I must mention is Baked by Melissa, and this is a site that we talk about. And the reason we talk about it is because it's selling cookies and cupcakes and stuff, and the photography is just very good. It's an event-based selling for gifts and happy birthdays. And when you go to the site, the photography and the branding is just on point, isn't it? It's like, look at that one there. So I've got. So can I just turn my VPN off because of or on? Hang on, I might lose you. That'll be annoying.
No,
it's loading now.
I did exactly the same thing. I did exactly the same thing before. Yeah.
So you see, you can see it. There's just they've put effort into photography, and that really helps.
What was interesting was that, you know, with gifting, people were buying for someone else. So the use of bestsellers is really powerful, because if I'm looking at chocolates and I think they'll like chocolates, like people will look at the bestsellers first, because they'll go, well, this is what everybody buys and this is what everybody's happy with. And you can see that right there on the homepage. There was like a whole list of bestsellers across there.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah. So we do look at that as quite a lot as well. AG1 and the reason AG1 is a health supplement, they're selling one product. The website is beautiful, but I don't want necessarily to take the people to look at that. But I like the get started way. So very clear, you know, get started with your AG1 and you build your kit, you know, start with it today, you know, choose the pouch. You want pouch? Well, yeah, okay, I'll have the pouch. And then you choose your single or double. Okay, I'll have my single. And then you straight into the checkout. You know, and there's a lot of that, and it's a Shopify checkout. There's a lot of those examples. You know, we've been looking with, you know, we're working with the coffee companies, how you're taking them through for that. You know, you could just plonk all the products on a page, you know, on a collection, choose what you want, you know, but you're taking the new guys down one path, which is very clear. And we've seen a lot of that. In fact, we chatted about that at length, didn't we? Saying we think that a lot more of e-commerce is going to go toward this, like,
well, it's interesting
taking them down this path.
Plus, because they've actually edited the checkout. They've got different upsells and things on the checkout there.
Under here, yeah, that'll be Shopify Plus. Yeah, but I don't want you to think that it's Shopify Plus. That isn't why it's great.
No, but it was,
you know,
it's interesting.
But it's an interesting one, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the EJ one's interesting.
People do a lot with the checkout in Shopify Plus, and apart from maybe a one-click upsell or something like that, there's not been a huge amount of, well,
no, you're right. Yeah,
nothing like.
Well, if you chat to Shopify rep,
if
you chat to Shopify rep, you'd be like, oh my god, it's gonna literally double. There's a magic button in Shopify Plus that you press and it just doubles your conversion rate.
Well, that's their big sell, isn't it? It's their big sell.
Yeah.
Well, a big sell for Shopify Plus is you'll save money on fees, and you'll be able to edit the checkout, and you can do like rule-based stuff, can't you? As well,
flows and things. I mean, look, if it does pay for itself, that's a bit of an error. So Wild, what?
It says wearewild.com.
We are Wild. We Are Wild, which is a deodorant. I mean, they've done very well. They've got into retail, but it was an online business that started. And what was very good about the brand was the way it looked. You know, it was the way it looked. And obviously they had the sustainable angle. They got fantastic reviews, but when you go into the products, it just looked very nice. It was a very, very nice site, and consequently, it meant they could charge a lot more. You know, they could basically saying, here's something that's going to cost £30, which you could go and buy, you know, for nothing, you know, for £2 or a bar of soap. But they added a playfulness, and it was different than anything else at the time. And so they managed to carve out
for the deodorant. It's almost like it doesn't feel like there's even it doesn't seem like how you're selling me that deodorant doesn't even seem like it's almost like the sale has been done somewhere else. You know what I mean?
It's a very different journey.
Are they a big Facebook advertiser?
Yeah, they're a big Facebook advertiser, and they're in retail. But the reason I mention it is that the photography is nice. Okay, the way that the brand is positioned is nice. Very different, but it isn't. You know, it's not. You know, sometimes you haven't got much to go
that
on.
one was Emma Bridgewater, wasn't it? She's
they've done a collaboration with Emma Bridgewater. Yeah.
She's done very well, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. Yeah. So Thompson & Morgan is the next one, and I like Thompson & Morgan. I come back to it because of one thing that they do well is that when you are in the basket, this is thompson-morgan.com. And when you add to basket, there's just a very good offer architecture. Plant of the day, add to basket. And when I go to my basket, there's special offers that pop up. There's special offers that you can get only when you buy. You get 50% off. You get take advantage of this offer. I like that. I mean, I've got, some people shy away from offer architecture thinking it's going to cheapen the brand, but
You couldn't do this with everybody,
it's
though, could you? I mean, it's
you
garden
couldn't.
centers
No,
are
of course
definitely
not.
like built
Well,
for
it's what you
this.
do in a real garden centre, wouldn't it? If you were
Oh
in
yeah,
a physical garden centre, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'll have one of those. Oh, I'll have one of those. Oh, they're on half price. Oh, if I get 3, I get 1 for. It is
yeah.
about maximising the basket size, and
Yeah.
they're just replicating that
I
online.
really like the only people I've seen where it's like you spend more to get access to this product, this special product. So like if you spend like £5 more, you're gonna get you can get access to this deal. And that's the only place I've ever seen someone do it, which is really interesting because I'm surprised that more people haven't copied it. It
Well,
could
I
be that
think
I haven't
people
seen as
do
many garden
it.
center.
I
Yeah.
think people do it, but I just think
It's a bit
it's
like our
the way
value
they've
tree, but like more specific.
Okay, yeah. So it's the way they've architected it is that's the nice thing they've done. Another one. Funnily enough, we were chatting about this business before. It's lanagard.co.uk. It's not brilliant in terms of the way the site looks, but it's a good example of a problem-solving rational purchase. You can't get more problem-solving rational purchase than rust prevention kits. And I like the fact that it's you and I
quid.
quite what
78 quid.
Yeah,
for a bottle
£78.
of liquid.
Yeah, I imagine it's great margin, and
Yeah.
I think it's one of those products that sits under the radar. But if you are in the market for underbody rust protection kits, it's got everything you need. It's got everything that's in the kit. You've got lots of trust and credibility up the fold. You've got fantastic returns policies, promises, lots of customer reviews. We like problem-solving rational purchases because we know what the problem is. That sounds stupid, but if you're selling a desirability play, where you've got to sell somebody a pair of sunglasses, you either like the look of the sunglasses or you don't. You don't really know what their problem is. Whereas when you're selling something like this, the underbody rust protection kit, you know exactly what the problem is. So we find those really nice to work with because it's so obvious. What is the problem? If we solve this, we're going to do really well. And if the maths are right, so I think quite like those.
There's a brand here in New Zealand that's similar to that. They're called Wet and Forget, and they're a really big brand. They've actually, it's a great name. The Wet and Forget, you basically just wet it and walk away. That's the whole idea with it. It kind of does the work itself. And I like those brands.
Cars?
It's like for driveway cleaner
Houses?
or roof cleaner.
Oh
or
yeah,
stuff like that. And it's like it's such a great brand name because it's in it. You kind of understand what it does right from the word go. Whereas if they'd said it's like Mark's driveway cleaner, you're like, oh, okay, it's just nothing.
I should do quite well. Well, it's the same. It's the 6 dominoes. It's do we how do we position the brand? How do we find the right product? How do we get them to want it? What's the anxieties? How do we prove it? What's the offer? It's beautiful. It's just a classic. This next one is Buddy and Lola, who we've worked with to help them with this. But I think the site's very good at demonstrating. I think they're selling dog probiotics, but I think there's a personality to the site, how they're positioning it. That 250,000 happy customers, dog supplements that work, introduced them from the founder, and I think the photography was quite good in terms of the way the branding looked.
Branding's nice. It's kind of like a fun, funky brand. It's kind of got a feel to Health, but done for dog supplements, isn't it?
Yeah. Meet our vet, Nurse Vicky, praised by vets, leading. There's elements here, that's, ours compared to others, and freaking ask questions. Real dogs, real stories. There's just a nice feel to it. Nice touch. Yeah. Next one, Thursday Boot Club. We come back to Thursday Boot, and we like Thursday Boots because it's honest boots, honest prices, and it's this positioning of why our boots are better than everybody else's and how they're cutting out the middleman. I think they've done that quite nicely.
Yeah, it's like the Need Essentials wetsuit version of boots.
Yeah, they've done that quite well. I'll just come back to that one. Make My Blinds is a site that actually I was looking at today because I think it's quite a complicated sell. But one thing they do well is they sell the sample. They sell the sample, and they've put quite a lot of effort in the sample, because who gets the first sample delivered in a day, fits in your letterbox. Yeah, I'll have that. Every product, it's order-free samples. But so I think the Make My Blinds is a good example. Complicated purchase, but understanding
what you're trying to do.
It's the sample, order the free sample.
A lot of those sites are about the flow of
Yeah.
how you actually move around where you get to, because like I honestly think that some people who design these sites have never actually bought the product they're trying to sell, and it's only when you actually go and try and buy the product do you realize. I was trying to do it for windscreen wipers the other day. I was just like, if you actually had actually used this site like me as a consumer, you would never have designed it like this.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, I agree.
So difficult to actually use. It makes sense from a program point of view, but
yeah, completely. I mean, Butternut Box is a site that I come back to. We look at that quite a lot because I think it's a very good site. I mean, there was a bit of an explosion for
see it.
Pardon?
You start. If you want me to look at a website, you've just got to leave it on the screen for like at least 3 seconds, so I can just see it before you start scrolling. No, just leave it.
It's too fast.
There. It's insane.
Almost like that annoys you.
Oh God, I'm just shouting as if like all the viewers in their homes. Like
they'll be in the car. They'll be listening.
If it makes me feel sick.
Well, okay, next. Yeah, right. Well, I'll go a bit slower.
Yeah.
So, Butternut Box.
You don't have to speak slower. You just need to scroll slower.
For God's sake. Butternut Box is a site that I do look at because I think they've done a good job of explaining why the brand. And I think the other nice thing is when you go, of course, we know when you build the box, guess what question they ask? What's your dog's name? Lola, right? And then you carry on, and it then says, what's your dog breed? And of course, you don't need to know the dog breed, but everybody wants to say what the dog breed is. It a girl or boy? Doesn't make any difference. Is she spayed? No, she's not actually. Is it a puppy? And then, but they ask you what the dog is, and we know that makes no Lola's breed. So it's a good, that's quite a nice experience as well. What the offer is at the end, and we think we should be honest. In the same vein, we should put Naked Wines actually, because Naked Wines is the site that we always come back to in this Get Started. This very, very good, strong offer architecture. Get started. Are you buying wine the smart way? We've talked about that for years.
Yeah.
Because obviously we were involved with that.
They've come away. They had this. It was interesting with that. They had this survey originally, and then they moved away from it more recently, and then they brought it back, which tells you something, doesn't it? So obviously they take whatever they tried a couple of months ago, or maybe 6 months ago. It didn't work, and I think what they moved to was much more of a. They took away the whimsical nature of the survey, and it was just more about finding your product, wasn't it? It was you
could get this. You could get the questions wrong. I mean, the old one, you could get it wrong, and you could be sorry, we're not going to get along. It said how much. How much wine is in an average bottle of supermarket wine that costs £5? Is it 30p, 70p? £2.70, and the answer, I think it was 30p or something crazy. And they were, so if you put £2.70, you say, no, you're wrong.
Yeah,
it's only 30p. Oh, bloody hell! But anyway, the idea of a Get Started quiz was interesting because it enabled us to explain what the concept of Naked Wines was. And by the time you'd done the quiz, you'd never be buying wine from a supermarket again, because the true competitor really for Naked Wines at the time wasn't Majestic Wine or Virgin Wines, it was the supermarkets, and that probably still is the case. But
this new one is an amalgamation of what they had before and what they tried.
Yeah.
So obviously the first quiz that they had was telling the value proposition of Naked Wines. Basically, like if you buy from Naked Wines, you're going to buy directly from the wine grower, and you're going to buy wine 30 cents on the dollar. Basically, that's what they were trying to say. And also, you're going to have a relationship with the wine grower. They then replaced it with something that was trying to understand what you as a buyer liked. Do you like red wines, sparkling wines, and stuff like that? Now they've got a kind of amalgamation of the two, because what they obviously want to do is profile you as you sign up, so they can give you more targeted emails. But I wonder whether or not it works, because I think that the original one they had right at the beginning talked about the policy, not the value proposition of Naked Wines much more strongly than what they've got now. And I think that because it's all very well saying, do you like red wines? Do you like white wines? Like, unless I understand the value proposition, I can buy those anywhere. So it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting how things change. But obviously when we worked with Naked Wines, 15 years ago when they were first kind of starting out, a long time ago. And back then, like, that segmentation wasn't as strong, was it? So there's maybe this technology that's come out that's changed it.
Yeah.
Are you bored?
Agreed. Yeah. No, a little bit. You're just going on about Naked Wines a bit too much. You asked me a question about what sites do I like.
Yeah.
So it's my podcast.
I better put my points in, otherwise
no,
look like I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Huel is a site that we look at quite a lot, and I think mainly for the positioning. I think of the brand, and how they're bringing in things like this. They recommend about top performance and over 500 million meals sold and loved by millions, and find your perfect match with the quiz. And it changes over time, but the guy core of it is
Health came from Huel, and the guy from Health came from Huel, and they pretty much look identical.
Yeah, there's definitely a similar feel to it, and the photography is good. When you're going through the photography, you can understand what the product is about. And I think that's a hidden trick, a missed trick by a lot of people, particularly on a mobile. If you're landing on the product page, which of course we know, and you look at the product page of Huel and Space Goods and the imagery, it's got everything. You don't need to read. It should tell the whole story of the product through the 6 dominoes. The positioning, the job to be done, the anxiety, the trust, credibility, the offer should all be there, which it is. It's great. It's got it all, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to say Wayfair quickly for navigational flow. And that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. It's a masterclass of navigation. You land anywhere, and it's very, very easy to find your journey. You're just gently, beautifully gliding through their sites. And whatever you click on, you can see other things. There's always a place to go and navigate through. And it's just very, very easy to navigate. Massive. They have to do that because they've got thousands and thousands and thousands of products. But anyway, AO.com, and I'll say AO purely because I think they've done a good job of merchandising the site. That's the first thing. It's just making it, AO loves making it clear. It's got so many products, but making it clear what they like. The other thing that's very good, which I talk about a lot, is the AO member price, and how they've got this non-member and then this member price, and how they sell it. It's very good. Right. You add anything to the basket that doesn't, you're not a member, and you've got this very well positioned site, AO membership, and it's like, oh my God, for £40, I can join and I get free return, free delivery, free removals. Nice. Just very clever, and it's just done. It's
interesting
really
that you've got
nicely.
A member price on a site that is typically a one purchase a year site. I mean, it's white goods, isn't it? I guess you might be buying. You've got so many products, you might be buying other stuff as well. But it obviously works for them.
Well, that's a subscription look as well. That's an annual subscription, 40,
which will just roll.
They basically, these businesses are they live and die by margin. So, winner takes all, right? So they might be running at a very, very small margin. I don't know, let's guess, 20%. They'll have some slightly more, some slightly. So if someone can come along and go, you can have £40 a year, pretty
off
much
everybody.
100% margin.
That's the Costco
That
model,
is
isn't
a
it?
game
Costco
changer.
model.
Pardon? Did you overspoke then?
Costco.
I didn't say what you said. Costco. Yeah, that's a similar model to Costco. Yeah. Yeah, it is. But they've got a member price. Can't get in Costco without a membership price.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a good one. Okay.
Just before we move off AO, do they still have that kind of product configurator on the homepage, or is that
No, they took it off actually. They had a product configurator on the homepage, and actually it came up in conversation for a business that we're working with, a brand at the moment, UK Water Filters, which we are looking at right now, and to see if that should come off. And we've made the decision to take it off because we think we prefer the clear call to action of taking them to a quiz rather than a
interesting. Because that was really
we'll test it, let you know.
Well, they obviously split this because that was a big part of this site as well. So that's interesting.
Well, it's gone. Yeah, it has gone for some time actually. Yeah, for everybody who doesn't know, it had drop downs saying
you could come and say, I wanted a washing machine, I want this brand, I want blah blah blah, and it would show you how many products it got in that, and then you can go see them.
Okay. Workwear Express is a B2B site, and I think it's a great example of a B2B site because they're selling other people's products. They know it is about price, availability, and trust. It's got to be a good price. It's got to come really bloody quickly because I need it now, and do I trust you? And so they emphasize those points very clearly. Price beat guarantee, loved by over 2 million customers. Interestingly enough, we were working with a competitor of theirs, and they're not the cheapest. They're not the cheapest, but because they have this price guarantee, price beat guarantee, I go, oh, brilliant. Price is guaranteed. We check prices daily. So I go, okay, brilliant. That ticks that box. I'm off. And the other thing that's very good is the fact that we all know, as because we work with loads of B2B clients, that they all want to get a bulk price. And this, look, get a quick quote.
Quick quote.
Get a quote.
Words.
Current response time under 2 hours. Get a quick quote. That's just as inquireful. So there's a couple of little touches to the Workwear Express site that's just obvious when you see them, but we would swipe and deploy. Some of these things. Okay. And the last two, we're going to put in the same camp. And these are very desirable plays. This one's House of CB. And there's then Lounge Underwear, Lounge.com. And Lounge.com was a business that we worked with. We had a good chat with the founders very long time ago. They've grown really nicely. There's only one reason why these brands have grown. House of CB and Lounge, and it's because of the imagery. If you're selling a desirability play, if your imagery is good. I'll just zoom down a bit because some of them are a little bit
X-rated, but
but their imagery is absolutely amazing.
Is the postage cost? I mean, it's nothing. I mean, the postage
margins are great.
The margin is fantastic.
Yeah. So if you get it right, but you
can't take returns because of course, not unopened. Yeah.
I'm gonna say a couple of things though. I think there's businesses like this. It's such a desirability play, and we said actually that some elements of home furnishing, is a desirability play. It is make or break with the image. If you've got the product that's on trend and you can photograph it and video it well, and it's on trend of that moment, you will do really well. And there's no amount of conversion rate optimization that can fix it. If it isn't working and it isn't on trend and the photography's bad, it isn't going to work. So it's so much about
the founders of these obviously know. They know what looks good and what doesn't look good, and they know the expressions on the models and the choice of the models, like that's a
It's
skill. That's a real skill.
listen.
Like,
I
you know,
would put it.
we the lingerie brand, it would be a bit. It wouldn't be.
Sorry, we're over talking each other a lot tonight. But I would put this a bit like, you know, when you know a caricature in like a cartoonist, when you go to like, you know, Rome and you sit there and they do a, you know, dramatized version. If I went, I'd have a big nose and a big double chin and like a little, you know,
That's how you look normally.
ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They would just, and they'll go, that's surely you've exaggerated my features. No, Mr. Hammersley, that is a life-like representation. Yeah. So, but it's they exaggerate the features, don't they? And this is what, if you're trying to create a brand like this, you've got to exaggerate. You know, the photography is the next step up. The model's the next step up. It has to be disruptive because it's trying to be, and they're being disruptive through the imagery and the content and the creative. And it's like the brand that we talked about years ago, the EU suit supply. Do you remember the suit supply? You know, we were trying to sell suits, and it had a guy, and he was surrounded by these, you know, the harem of beautiful people in the swimming pool, and it was disruptive through the imagery and the shoots, and that's it. It's make or break for those type of brands. That there isn't any problem solving. These sort of brands, you know, no one needs this stuff. You know, they want it. You know, but they don't need it. So you have to lead it with those. So I thought I'd put those ones in as a really a masterclass of actually understanding, you know, how to photograph things properly.
I mean, to be honest, like looking at the imagery, it's unpractical. Like you wouldn't go into a forest with one apple and 3 strawberries and sit in the middle of a forest. I mean, particularly wearing those clothing, it's like you get caught out, wouldn't you? You'd be cold.
Yeah. Anyway, I better close those down. I was once with Arga, you know, Arga, the cook shop brand, you know, the cookers, and I was showing them, look at that, you know, and then, you know, somebody came in the office like, what are you doing here?
I did that I was in a shared office, and I was working on, I can't remember who it was, but one of our brands sold lingerie, and I had to look at it and do a deep dive on it. And I was on a standing desk, and on my huge computer up in front of everybody, I just had like a big lingerie on there, and they were like, everybody was like, what are you doing? And but you know, I got through it. Yeah. And if any
research
is to work on it,
I'm just looking at this. This is a great example of a website.
Better than
the way they've put the add to basket button right there.
Yeah, all day. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, thank you very much for
sharing. So there you go.
Websites.
Well, that's my summary. You know, the summary of this is, you know, there is no one size fits all, and you know, you walk down the high street and you see all shops are laid out differently. They all look different, you know. And of course they should do, because they're dealing with a different emotional need. Some of it is a desirability play. Some of it is a problem solving. Oh my God, I need it now. You know, you have to understand the emotional need and drive, and who you're stealing market share off. If they don't buy from you, who are they going to buy from?
I think the common theme across all of them is that they, even the kind of does what it says on the tin style ones, is they are doing a good job at showing you what your life is going to be like with the product once you've got the product. So like even the one that had the undercar rust stuff, like it had, you know, it showed you how you were going to use it, and it showed the car being protected and stuff like that. So effectively it was like, it paints, a good e-commerce site paints a good picture of the future with the product, is effectively what it is. Even like health, you feel like if you buy those products, your life's going to be better. Your life's going to feel better because you're going to be this part of this world. So like, I think that just from sitting back and looking at it, that's effectively what all of those websites do. And I think even like the ones where it's like does what it says on the tin type businesses, they're not creating a wonderful life of luxury, but basically it's a life without the problem you've got. That's what they're proving. So
and they're
stopping future problems. Yeah,
and they're proving that they can solve that problem better than anyone else. I think you've got to get that right. I mean, I remember working with a client that was selling, we've said this before. The wheels on the bottom of caster trolleys. Like in you roll like a warehouse and you roll, and then and they were looking at like the Rolex website, going, "Oh my God, we love the Rolex website." It's like you're selling a problem-solving purchase that people need now. It's not an aspirational play, and it's they really went down the wrong path for a long time with the design, trying to look at the Rolex site. I was like, no, this is totally wrong. But anyway,
yeah,
that story
for an hour. It's nuts.
Gosh, I know. Even with your foray into naked wines, well, it was good, useful.
Yeah,
I'm sure we're very irritating to listen to because it's two brothers that know each other very well, that have no need to be polite.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. We'll speak to you next week.
Well, thanks, guys.
Cheers. Okay, bye.